if like the guests can ever hear the music, but that's fine. I don't know if he can. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another gambling show. I want to say this is number three and the new rebrand.
Oh, that's a good number.
3? We should have done it for 2 because that's your number.
I know. Well, did we hit a parlay on 2?
We did hit a parlay on 2. But we have another guest in here today. Back to our gambling roots with some guests that we've had in the previous years over the course of this 3-year-long journey. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Welcome into the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. We do have, for the third time, Prop Holiday. Stanley. Yeah, it was 2021 and 2023. March of 2023 was our check-in. And now, hopefully, this is more of I want to say, like a frequent occurrence since we are diving into the gambling niche. Bobby, Prop Holiday, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. This means so much to us. And when you sent that DM to us, when we asked you to come on and you said you had me at yo, that just means a lot to us. We appreciate that. So what's up, man? Good to see you.
Nothing, guys. Thanks for having me back, guys. This is like I call it my annual physical. I check in with you guys once a year. Everything's going well. The blood pressure's good. No, whenever I get to talk to you guys, it's a good time. And even though I've still never met you in person, it's good vibes. I can tell you guys are good dudes. So I always get excited to come on the show.
Well, we talk about, we were briefly touching on getting on the golf course too.
Have to.
Our golf series is slowly in the restart of our, I want to say 5th or 6th season of that. So we'll get you on for that. But there's new things to talk about on your behalf as the Prop Holiday Discord has finally started. Finally. And we have been, we since you don't want to do, shameless self-promotion, we will. If you join the prop shop today, it'll take $10 off. Plus, Bob is freezing the payments for July and August. So you're in for the next 3 months for a low payment of $12. You'll get the rest of the NBA Finals, the WNBA, the Summer League, the NBA Draft, and the Olympics. Sign up today. Come on, Bob. Let's go.
I did. I caved last November because I was having a really good. I've been doing this for over 3 years now. I caved and finally created a Discord after being I was never anti-Discord. And we actually talked about it on your guys' pod. It was just not a route I wanted to go. And I think I finally, as sad as it is, I realized I'm probably never making it to ESPN. I'm never, and that was, I'm never making it on NBA TV, always though that's my dream. But I want to try to monetize this. And there was always a tarnish over it that if you go the paid route, you're never going to make it in those spaces. And then a lot of like Pickswise, I still work for Pickswise. They kind of caved and were like, listen, if you give us different picks, you can put out whatever you want on your Discord. We're not going to ban you or anything. So I created the Discord, and it was honestly the best thing I've done because the people are awesome. The vibes that we had when gambling Twitter started years ago were the best. It was just fun. Everybody trying to win bets. It got toxic over a while, and it was real fast. When money does that, money plus ego is a bad time. I created this, and the people who joined were really good dudes, and I just have more fun talking with them than I did on Twitter. So I've been a little less active on Twitter, but I'm always in the prop shop talking. But I give out my daily picks. I usually do 1 to 2 like DFS tournaments every month. So like it's included in your membership. You sign up, winner gets $100. I'm gonna start doing the poker tournaments because it's getting quiet in the summer. And I'll give credit to Kilkenny. He did that, and he gave a good idea. But it's free, included in your membership. And then I'm freezing payments for July and August because it's kind of my time to take a little bit of step back, and it's less going on with NBA and NFL. But I'm gonna do some WNBA. I'm gonna do the draft. I'm gonna do the Olympics. I'm going to do Summer League. So you're still getting picks. It's just not the volume of when you're paying an NFL and NBA season. So I thought that was fair. I don't want to make money if people aren't getting enough from me.
That's good on you.
Well, we picked our WNBA team.
Yes, sir.
The Seattle
They cashed
Storm.
last night, baby.
That's our team. Jewel Lloyd, who Manny actually said the comparison to the NBA comparison to Jewel Lloyd is Jalen Brunson. And we did watch. We went back in the highlight reel. We went back to the tape.
There.
And it's kind of there.
It's there.
You watch the tape. It's kind of there. And that's
just
what he
a
said.
little
It's
bit.
giving Jalen Brunson.
Just
It was
a little
minus
bit.
7.5 last night against the Mercury. They blew him out by 18. So that was an easy bet there. I'm going to be riding him all season long.
I'm rocking with the Liberty. They got to bring him back to Madison Square Garden. I won't make the trip to Barclays. It's a pain in the ass getting to Brooklyn for me. But I could be in MSG in like 45 minutes. So whenever the Liberty come back to the Garden is when I wish they were still there. But I'm messing with the hometown team there for WNBA. I have all girl cousins who played ball. I've been watching girls basketball probably for the last 25 years.
Your one cousin is nasty. Remember
my one cousin was Conference Player of the Year D1. So like I've probably watched more girls basketball than the average human being. And now that WNBA is really kind of taken off, I think it's pretty dope. So. Well, and now we get to bet on it more.
Exactly.
Right. And it goes to show too, I just back to, yourself in the Discord and everything. I think like you're one of like more the cappers that does more FaceTime, not in terms of just holding a phone up and taking a video on what bet it is, like this kind of stuff. Picks wise, what was that? Well, it wasn't like FanDuel TV or something like that. Like it was picks wise. You've been on a couple shows that have like the tickers on the bottom, like it's the real deal.
I did the daily tip with BetMGM.
That's right.
With Chelsea and DC, really good people. Through BetQL, they're good. I've been on VSiN. I've been on VSiN a lot, which is Vegas Sports Insider Network. I'm actually going to be on them tomorrow. Sick. And I actually do weekly clips for them. Picks wise, when they used to have a show, dude, I work with Lauren Jabara. Lauren Jabara is on NBA TV now. I was on a show with her. I was a regular with her, and she was really dope too. She was a cool person. So I've done some cool stuff, and then I had my own show briefly, where I had like NBA. I had a couple ex-NFL guys on there, and I had CJ Watson from the NBA, and I had to wave the flag because it's too much. It's just too much.
You have so much going on.
You got a lot going on.
Oh yeah, I got what? Can I make a real announcement?
Yeah,
I got a kid coming in November, my second one.
Let's go, baby!
Well, I saw it. Congratulations! We saw the
big dog.
It was funny. We were going through your Twitter yesterday and just getting ready for today. And one of your screenshots, I think it was you were 5-0 in your last 5, and your profile picture of you in the Discord is you and your little baby boy.
I was gonna say, hey, they say the baby buff with these athletes. The baby's on the way. You guys pick up some steam a little bit. There's a deal for his Discord. I'm just saying.
Now I got my son Jack is a year and a half now, and I'm having a daughter in November. So I'm having a boy and a girl, and I'm done. No mas.
I was gonna say, well, now you get the perfect mix right there. You get a boy and a girl. You're done. And briefly, before we get into Tucupita Marcano and getting banned from the MLB, are you dealing with any injuries? The injuries are done now. No more Achilles. No more.
We back.
My Achilles is good. Knock on wood. I'm getting slowly in the best shape of my life. That time machine you see back there is a sauna. So I do sauna. I do sauna 3-4 times a week. I'm doing a Spartan race at Citi Field. Actually, I'm doing a Spartan race at Citi Field in June. I've been working out 4 or 5 days a week. I'm down probably 25 pounds since November. So it is full swing. I just turned 35 last week, and I'm trying to be in the best shape of my life at 35, and I'm on the way.
We are fucking bullish on Prop Holiday, baby.
The summer of 2024 is the summer of Prop Holiday. Can we just say that? All right, so over to Tucupita Marcano. I just want to read these quick stats here. Front Office Sports kind of broke it down. His total amount, he's banned from the MLB. This was as of 2 days ago. The total amount bet on baseball was $150,000. He bet $87,319 on the MLB. His average amount per bet was $378. The number of MLB bets that he placed was 231. He bet 25 games on the Pirates. And here's the best part of it all. The MLB bets won is just a small margin of 4.3%.
He had to be putting in like long shots, right? Surely there's no way he's betting straight. Like that's bad, bro.
Every bet, every parlay, anything that involved the Pirates lost. Every outcome that he put on the Pirates lost. So not only is he a terrible human being for betting on the team he's playing on, and betting against them, he was bad at it, to add insult to injury. It's
like what Jonte said, where he was, talking with outside sources, I guess, saying place this bet, and I'm gonna say that I'm sick, and then go out for the rest of the game. At least, like, if you're gonna like lean into it this far and bet on your own team like he did, go do some slimy shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, at least try to win. Because it's going to get stripped. And he's only 24. So now, we talked about it when Jonte was banned. Jonte's on the younger end, too. Like, what do you do now? Like, Do you start a podcast and talk about it?
No bullshit.
No, I mean, guys like that, I mean, they'll probably play overseas. I mean, Jonte will probably go to Europe. He'll probably go play in a small league, and he'll make a living, and he'll be, I mean, it may be hard for Jonte, I would say. He's a little bit more notable. But if, you go down to like a Venezuelan league or the Mexico league, I have a couple friends who play in those leagues, you'll make a living, but you'll never be in the show again. And you'll always be that guy. You'll be the anti-Pete Rose. At least Pete Rose bet on himself to win.
Right.
Like, I actually don't think that should be punished as much or at all. Like, you're betting on yourself to win. He was doing it as a manager. But betting on yourself to lose, it takes out the integrity. It goes against everything in sports. And I actually don't have a problem with a lifetime ban when you're betting on yourself to lose.
No, I think I talked about it when we did the Jonte thing. I'm like, they should like find a way to like the whitelist of players, and you could literally only take your team's money line. Like, even if it's minus 300, like, you guys have the money. Like, if you want to put Texans money line CJ Stroud on a minus 300 versus whatever, like, go ahead, but you can't take anything else. I actually think I wouldn't hate that. I feel like it would actually help some of the guys from not getting banned for life. If this is the only way we can get involved, like, fuck it. But I feel like you're probably walking another tightrope with these guys because, Ipe's are out there and guys like this are out there.
We're still waiting for that Ipe Mizurara banning whenever that's going to come out. So like in a, I guess, what's that, almost like a 2-month span, we've seen lifetime bans from Jonte. Shohei was in his investigation, and now we have this. And then on top of that, there was 4 other players that were suspended. A's pitcher Michael Kelly, Padres pitcher Jay Grome, Phillies, this is farm system Phillies infielder Jose Rodriguez, and Diamondbacks pitcher Andrew Saalfrank. So and that's only 1-year bans, but still, we've seen now major bans from NBA and the MLB
and NFL,
and obviously NFL. I mean, the first one last year or 2 years ago, it was almost shocking when we saw Calvin Ridley gone for a year because of gambling, and then it was like, wait, is the NFL getting involved? And then here we are almost a year and a half later, and now we're seeing lifetime bans. And it goes to the point where, like I told you before we got started, when you dropped the question of, Pete Rose and if there's going to be bans, lifetime bans like his, and here we are in the same situation. So I don't know, pose the question. Bob, you kind of said what was it that you messaged over?
So I read an article.
One-way lines or something? What were you saying with that?
I read an article on ESPN, and this was after Jonte Porter, was not after the MLB incident, that they're discussing how do you counteract this? How do you prevent people from tanking against themselves? So they're not really concerned with people betting on their overs or betting on their team to win. It's more the tanking piece. They're discussing players on 10-day contracts or G League guys or 2-way contracts. Those player props will not be offered. And for guys like me and for guys that bet like the Delano Bantons of the world and make a killing, taking those away sucks. Mm-hmm. The other thing they discussed is making player props one-way markets. What does that mean? You can only bet their overs. And I don't think it's going to get that far. I hope it doesn't get that far. But the fact that they're discussing that is scary. And if you know the basics of betting, what a book wants to do, they want to get an equal amount of money on both sides. They have a VIG. No matter who wins, they take the VIG of each side. They pay the one, they still make a killing. They still make money on the other. If you're having one-way markets, can you imagine how much liability they're going to have on the over? Right. Your odds are going to they can't give out plus 500 on a guy to go 30 plus. Say Jordan Poole, to get 30 plus one game. Say his odds for 35 plus is like plus 750. Well, if I can only bet his over in that situation, you're not going to give me plus 750. Mm-hmm. All your money's going to be on the over, and you can't take that risk. So it would crush odds. And I think it would be the end of a lot of guys like me who. I bet player props exclusively. I bet under sometimes. I have an under that I'm on for game 1. But if you take those away, you're destroying sports betting. Money lines, you'll still have money lines and spreads and totals, but player props would be completely demolished. So I don't think it's going to get to that, but the fact that they were thinking about that is scary.
And it goes to show as well, like, there's no stopping it from these players fully because they have connections.
Do you think some of these athletes lurk in some of these discords in their off season?
I would think so.
Yeah, probably, right?
But like, you can bet. That's the thing. You could bet on other sports. You could be in the NBA betting on the NFL. That's completely legal.
Facts.
but it's got to be enticing when all of your knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we saw the tweet yesterday from the college player. I forget, was it a Duke baseball player? I forget who it was, but he said, "Goodbye baseball," because he's a senior. He's not playing again. He said, "Goodbye baseball." This was the tweet. "Goodbye baseball. Hello DraftKings." So it was one of those things where I'm done playing.
Take your knowledge, bro. Take your 1% knowledge.
I don't know, because there's no way that you can stop it, because like Jonte had, he had an outside source. I don't even know if you can call it an inside source, because it wasn't. It's just like somebody that he called and said, "Hey, place this bet for me." Right. So like you can't stop that. It's not like, FanDuel or DraftKings can lock usernames or something like that from these guys, because they're always going to have somebody else that can place a bet. So it just goes to show, like at some point, like we've seen NBA and MLB, like we're just waiting on an NFL full-time, lifetime ban, right. Which I don't know if that's going to happen. All right, I need to tell you this story from this past Friday. In our hometown, just outside of Philadelphia, I was at the bar, went to the Phillies game. Again, I'm a Yankees fan, but it's just easy to get down to those games. Living outside of Philly, whatever. So we're in this bar and with a bunch of my friends celebrating a birthday, and one of these kids comes up to me, grabs my shirt, and he's like, "Dude, I need you to be for real right now. Saquon Barkley just walked in." And as a Giants fan, like, if you want to go say something, like, now's your time. And I've said on this show before, too many. If I ever get the chance to say what I'm going to say to his face, I will. I'm walking out the door. My brother's like, "Just let him live his life. Just let him live his life." And I walk outside. I'm like, "You know what? Fuck this. I got to go say something to him." So I go up to him, and there's like this girl there. And I don't know if that was his girl or some girl was kind of sitting next to him. And she looked like pretty annoyed that there was a lot of people coming up asking for pictures. So I just go up, and he has like some big guy like kind of blocking him so you can't really see him. So I just lean over to the girl, and I'm like, "I'm a Giants fan. Like, can I just say something to Saquon Barkley real quick?" And she like taps on the guy's shoulder. He moves out of the way. She's like, "Giants guy, Giants guy." And his like face kind of lit up. I was like, "Oh, Giants guy?" I'm like, "I'm Alex, man. I'm a huge Giants fan. I have a podcast, and I've said multiple times on the show, if I ever got the chance to say this to your face, I would. Thank you. Thank you so much for making the Giants fun to watch. I am not mad at you for coming to Philly. You earned your money. You got your money. This, and this." I got like 3 to 5 minutes with him, and like I was just like spitting, like just because I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever get to say something to his face ever again. I'm just trying to get everything off my chest from the 6 years watching him play. And I felt like towards the end of it, like the guy kind of had looked over and it was like, "All right, my time's up." But I'm like, I was like shaking, and then I'm like asking for a picture. And as I'm handing the phone to his security guard to like take the picture, my hand's like shaking. And he's like, "Now's not the time to be nervous, man. You just told him everything you wanted to say." And I'm like, I'm just like, he's sitting next to me. And I've said to myself multiple times, like, just act like they're human beings. But like that was the first time ever somebody that I've just watched on a TV screen was like right there next to me. Like I thought that would never happen. And then I'm going to see him on the TV screen. And he's like, he was like, I'm beefing with them on Twitter. Like, you've seen that. I'm like, I know. I saw you at the Sixers game, and they were all beefing with you there. I'm not one of those guys. I just want to let you know. So that was just a crazy story. I did not expect to ever see that happen. He just walked in, just had a good time at the bar. And, like, this is just like a small town bar, a little Irish pub in Media in Delaware County. And we were just surprised to see him there on a Friday night, like, just posted up. They kept the bar up until, like, 3 a.m. just because he was there. It was like, I'm never going to get that opportunity ever again.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you did it and you had the balls to do it, and you at least got everything you wanted to say off your chest. And it is weird because like Saquon is in the upper echelon. It's not like you met like a 76ers, G League guy. Like right. You met the guy. You met the face of a franchise essentially. He was the face of the franchise for 5-6 years.
And I've said too, like, I don't know if I think I would have reacted different if it was like, like a Jalen Brunson or like an Aaron Judge. I don't know if I would have been like that, super fanboy. Like I was, no disrespect to them. But like, I just like, I mean, it kind of like clicked. Like I was like, as soon as I saw him, I walked up and I covered my face. I'm like, oh my God, stop do not do this. Do not do this. And then sure enough, I sat right next to him and then it just clicked. Fanboy was on. So I felt bad at the end, had a little bit of anxiety the next day. I'm like, man, was I talking too much? Like, is he good? Hopefully he forgets this. Like, so it was one of those things, but hey, note to self, just try to talk to him as normal people. But again, I'm just never going to get the chance to say like, it helped that he is now in Philly. Like if he was still a Giant, I think I would have been a little bit more on like the, I guess, normal side instead of all giddy and happy to see him. But I thought that was pretty wild. I'll never see him again. Maybe if we go places, maybe I'll get to say sorry when I see him again. And then, okay, we'll keep it with New York. I have to do my annual rant on the New York Rangers because to a Devils fan, this is like perfect timing. I get to do this.
Still owe me tickets, by the way.
I know.
don't want to cut you off. You owe me Devils tickets.
I know. I do. Well, I have to do it next season. And I know we were supposed to do it this season and a lot of bullshit. So yeah, this is the third 3 years, 2 Eastern Conference Final exits with the last year first round exit to your New Jersey Devils. Unfortunately, that's where the whole bet came into play, and now I owe tickets. I just have to highlight in this series how good the Panthers are. Number one, like 5-on-5 after game 1, it was said, it was known. The 5-on-5 team, the best 5-on-5 team, the better 5-on-5 team is the Florida Panthers. The forecheck's insane. Yeah,
when you do, it was very fucked trying to watch you guys get the puck over the blue line.
When you get 30 seconds to even go get an offensive rush and sit in the offensive zone and try to create scoring opportunities and scoring chances, you're tired.
It was fucked.
You got to get guys off the ice. And then it's just dump and chase. Let's get a change. Dump and chase. Let's get a change. They never really could get anything going. All season long, we've been looking at this power play as deadly as it has been. And even when they were on it, couldn't get anything going. And then we talk about the 3 guys. The longest tenured New York Ranger, Chris Kreider. He had a shorthanded goal. Wow, 1 goal. 1 assist in the series. Good job. Wow. Mika Zibanejad. Here's another one. In 6 games in the Eastern Conference Final, how do you not score? You had 3 goals all playoffs, and they were in the first 5 games of the playoffs this season.
Not that many good rips either.
No. And the other thing is you scored 2 goals against the Capitals. That's where your 2 of your 3 goals this playoffs came against the Capitals. Like, come on. And then finally, we have to talk. I have his jersey, Artemi Panarin. We have to talk. Jerk off number 3. We have to talk about you. Making over $11.5 million this season, and you can't score a single goal. I'm not counting that bullshit, a minute and 40 left, empty netter that didn't, when they pulled the goalie, that didn't matter. Over $11.5 million. And this season, and you have 1 goal to show for that basically didn't really matter. Sure, you had 3 assists in that series. 6 games, that's 2 goals and 6 assists combined from these 3. That can't happen.
That's embarrassing.
That can't happen. And then on top of that, we're hearing yesterday from Jacob Trouba that he lost part of his ankle later in the season. Ouch. Just throw him in the long-term IR and go use that extra $8 million at the trade deadline. Maybe you could have found a better playmaker outside of Alex Wemberg and Jack Roslovic to actually maybe still be playing for a cup final. This was like prime. 1994, 30 years later, you win it. Everything from 1994 led up to this season. It's like you saw the in Game 6 when they lost, you saw Rangers fans holding up the newspaper of Mark Messier saying, "We will win tonight." And they did. And then they won Game 7 and they advanced. And then they won the whole goddamn thing. Well, that surely wasn't the case this year. And it's just another disappointing exit. I don't know how many more times I'm going to say it. I think they can contend for maybe 2 to 3 more years. But as soon as they lost, I said, it's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. I'm just so sick and tired of talking about it every year, getting so excited. But this one felt different because this one really felt like this was going to be the one. This was going to be it. With all the players, with Igor standing on his head, give him some more help. I mean, come on. It's so sad. It's a wasted talent. You get it. Vincent Trocheck's hugging Igor at the end of the game, they asked him in his press conference yesterday. And what did he say? I just told him you deserve better. Well, damn straight you deserve better because all you do
is... He was like your best player.
He was. The only reason they even got the chance to play in the Eastern Conference Final against the Panthers was because of Igor. They should have lost that series to the Hurricanes. This series in the Eastern Conference Final, they should have got swept. Igor bailed him out of 2 overtime games, back-to-back games. It's just ridiculous, and I don't want to hear any other conversation about who's the best goaltender in the league because you just watched it in the Eastern Conference Final. He's right there, and you watched it against the Hurricanes. Igor Shesterkin is the best goaltender in the league, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's my rant.
Can I add Lafreniere kind of
yeah.
well?
Want
a silver lining?
That goal.
Lafreniere had a good game 3.
I mean, he's now climbed out of his shell this year. This is now a career player, and this is what what a lot of the announcers and analysts were talking about too. Is like you make your money in the regular season, and you make your name in the playoffs, and that's what he did. He earned his money. And I'm going to go a little bit different. He earned his money in the playoffs. I mean, he's going to get paid for that.
I think Loff and Keandre Miller. Like, I think he played well.
I know, and he's in a free agency contract too, so they're going to have to re-sign him too. But it just goes back to the point. I mean, how is this young killer performing better than a guy out of Panarin who had 120 points this season, 49 goals and 71 assists? and you got nothing to show for in the Eastern Conference Final.
Like, listen, I know shit fuck about hockey, but what I will say about like, at least the top three compared to some other teams, like the Rangers are tough as fuck from a resiliency standpoint. Like the Hurricane series, y'all could have laid down and let them come back a couple of times, and obviously Chris Carter, the game, like. But I think from like a toughness, like hard-nosed hockey standpoint, like to compare to the Florida Panthers, like Sam Bennett's out there roughing them up. Like it's a little different. I think that's the only thing the Rangers were really missing. Because the talent's there. I think it's a little bit like just some kind of toughness. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I feel like that's what Rempe had, but he wasn't obviously that good of a hockey player. But I feel like they're missing a little bit of that.
Just helps when
the history of '94 and then everything that was going on with the Knicks. I think there was just something caught up in the
whirlwind
tri-state area that hyped this up. I don't disagree with anything you just said about the Rangers. But like this one felt different. I think a lot of things played into this one feeling different, and it has to do with the nostalgia of '94, and it has to do with what the Knicks were doing up until
100%.
the next round.
Well, I said too. Oh,
it's easy to get caught up in it, and I'm not a Knicks fan, and I was caught up in the Knicks. So,
well, my big thing too is I'm a huge narrative guy, so I was just trying to use narratives to keep my mind in check and get through it. So one of the things that I kept saying before Game 6 was, well, it's fitting because the Knicks finally got their Game 7 at MSG. Well, injuries, whatever that is. I'm not going to be the guy to bitch about injuries. They lost Game 7 at the Garden, and that's what everybody wanted. Game 7 at the Garden, ratings are going to go crazy. Okay, it's fit perfectly. The Rangers will get Game 7 at MSG like everybody wants. Ratings are going to go crazy. This time, since the Knicks lost Game 7, the Rangers will win Game 7. They'll go play the Oilers in the Cup final. I did think the Oilers were going to win that series, and it was going to be Oilers and Rangers. And Oilers won in 93, Rangers won in 94. So, hey, talk about narratives. Keep my mind in check. Next year, Oilers win it now. Rangers win it next year.
Anything but the play on the ice is
the Oilers are plus 110 to win the series against the Panthers, and I'm putting that juice on that. I mean, what we've been saying this entire playoffs, at least on this show, is the league for ratings, to get more eyes on the sport, the league needs to see the best player play it for a Cup final, and that's Connor McDavid. And now that he's here, there's just no way he's gonna lose that. There's a prop on ESPN bet. It's a special. It's for Connor McDavid over 1.5 shots for every single game, and he's coming off like 5-5, 4-1, 3. I like that bet. It's, I think, minus 120 now or something like that. But, I mean, just betting on the best player and then plus 110. Yeah. And again, if it was like the Hurricanes that beat the Rangers, I'd be pretty pissed off and rooting for them to lose. I have no animosity towards the Florida Panthers. They're a better team. They deserve to go on. So I don't care if they win, but I would like to see Connor McDavid win. That's where it is. Plus 110. That's all the hockey stuff. I got to give some credit.
I might take that ESPN bet. I'm going to give that out on my Discord. I'll give you credit, though, man.
Yes.
That's a lot.
I think ESPN, I've been more on, and this is actually a good question for you. I've been more on ESPN Bet recently. I find sometimes that they have a little bit better odds for some bets. And then I like their specials a little bit more. And I also think, at least for the like special bets in terms of like NBA final specials, Stanley Cup final specials, they're organized a little bit better than FanDuel instead of searching around. So I don't know if you've kind of dabbled a little bit more on ESPN Bet or if you're more a FanDuel DraftKings guy, but
I have. So I work, I guess, with four. I work with FanDuel, DraftKings, Bet365, which not everyone gets, but I just love that they have all the tertiary guys. Like I could get a Maxi Kleber 3-point alt line. Their alt lines and same game parlays I really like. And then ESPN Bets now in my top four. They gave me some deposit match thing a while ago, and I've just been rolling with it. They have some decent odds boosts. I do like their alt lines. So no, they've made it, and like you said, it's digestible. I like the layout of FanDuel. I think I like ESPN's layout second best to the other ones, like just visually.
Yeah, and I'll say like for Bet365, we don't get it here in PA. I know I did do a little bit on Bet Parks for a little while just because like I like finding, like Action Network, I like finding, the easy promo codes to get on another book. Yeah. But yeah, now I'm back on FanDuel. But I mean, I do like ESPN Bet, and I will say when ESPN Bet came out, I was very fishy about it. Because if you do think about the grand scheme of things, like this is how, like when it first came out, I mean, just think about it. Like the worldwide leader in sports now drops a sports book. How are we not thinking about?
They know something?
That's what I mean. So it was a little fishy, but I mean, I win more on ESPN Bet than anything else. So I'm kind of riding the wave.
I'm with you. Some of their like odds boost, it'll scare the hell out of me, and I'm like, I'm not touching that because it seems like if it seems fishy and it's on ESPN Bet, I won't touch it.
Right.
Just like why are you laying that?
Okay, so time to build a parlay with you for the game one of the NBA Finals tomorrow night. I know you probably have. I've seen you've put out some things already for NBA Finals. Can you just take us through a little bit of your breakdown of the series and how you think it's going to go? We're both. I'll kind of leak it early. We're both on the Mavs, but Manny also has a ticket riding for Kyrie.
Not very confidently, but I am on the Mavs.
He's got Kyrie Finals MVP. He got it at plus 2,700. I think it was almost 2 weeks ago.
I was after game 2 when Luka was laboring. We thought we had a sharp bet, and then Luka came out like, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ incarnated to the rest of the series.
So just a breakdown of what you think, how this series is going to go. As you know, wearing the Lakers hat, NBA capper yourself. Let's hear what you got.
All right, so before I go into the actual series, I'll say this. If the Mavericks pull this off, it'll be the third biggest upset in finals history since the merger. So the 04 Pistons, the Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Lakers going for 4-peat, they were plus 500. They lost to Detroit. The 2019 Raptors were plus 225 over the Warriors. KD goes down, I think, in game 1. Clay ends up hobbling. Yeah. Kawhi wins that. It was just not a fun series. Nobody really liked that. This would slide right in there with the 2016 Cavs. 2016 Cavs were plus 180. Ooh. So depending on what book you're getting the Mavs on, I saw them as high as plus like 220. It's significantly dropped. The public's all over the Mavericks.
Sadly.
And then the 2011 Mavericks with taking down the Heatles were plus 160. And then the 2021 Bucks. The 2021 Bucks were plus 145 over the Suns. So those are the biggest upsets that happened in finals history. This would be the third biggest, and even the second one I consider fluky because of KD's injury. What I think about the series, I do think Kristaps being back healthy is a big deal. People kind of forget how good this regular season team Celtics, 100%. Like they were. They were the best starting 5 in the league, bar none. Playing it the other way, the post All-Star break Mavs were unreal. Defensively, they were the best defensive team net rating in the league. The Gafford and Washington trade, they worked out. Let's call it what it is. They were one of the best deadline trades we've seen in a very long time, probably the last decade. And then it obviously carried into the playoffs. What I'm looking at in this series is, what does Boston want to give up? Are they going to give up lobs at the rim with the high pick and roll with Luka? Are they going to give up corner threes? That's where PJ Washington is going to have to play a role. Something has to give. How they handle the Luka Kyrie matchups, I think Drew Holiday is going to start out on Luka. I think Derek White's going to start out on Kyrie. And then it begs the question, what's Jaylen Brown going to do? Is he just going to tag in and be annoying for whoever in spurts and then back off? Because he's still... They have 3 guys that can make someone's life hell. Unfortunately, that someone is Luka Doncic. I was listening to the JJ Redick Lakers interview. I was listening to the LeBron podcast with JJ Redick, sorry. And they were talking about what's the best way to defend Luka. So you can't switch on him. If you switch, it's a loss. No matter if he brings someone up. We saw what happened with Rudy Gobert, where he was trending. You can't switch. Okay. Can you drop in the pick and roll? Now the big, whoever the 5 is, Kristaps in this scenario, has to make a tough decision. So they said the best way to guard Luka is to blitz him, meaning bring 2 guys up. Let the guy go, but let the center go in the high pick and roll. Let Gafford or Lively go, and hope that Kristaps and Drew Holiday defend the pass, block the shot, whatever it may be. There's no good way of doing it. That's just the best of all the bad decisions you're going to make. So that's what I'm excited to see, is how they're going to defend it. We're talking about plays. I got my eye on Luka's assists just for that exact reason. If you're going to blitz him, something's going to be open. Is it PJ Washington in the corner? Is it lobs at the rim for Derek Lively? I think they're going to be there. His line's at 8.5. I'm toying with that, either to the assists over 8.5 or points and assists at 40.5. There's a decent hit rate. It's 66% hit rate on the road this postseason, over 40.5. Yeah. So that one I'm tinkering with. And then if I'm J Kidd, I think J Kidd's the better coach. I think Luka Doncic's the best player in the series. If it's the NFL, we just had this happen in the Super Bowl. The better coach was Andy Reid. The better player was Patrick Mahomes. That wins in one game. It's one game on the line, that wins. This is a 7-game series. 5 of the best 7 players in the series are on the Boston Celtics. So over the course of 7 games, that's going to even itself out. I do lean the Celtics. I think the Celtics in 6. If it makes it to 7, I would take the Mavs just because that exact reason. It's one game. It's Luka Doncic. I think he can be that guy. But I do have the Celtics in 6, and I got the Mavs at 22-1 to win the finals before the playoffs started. Yeah.
That's a great bet. I kind of agree where your head's at, though. Like, realistically, I think the Celtics are going to win. With the whole defensive thing, I think for some weird reason, I don't know if the Celtics are going to want to show their hand super early, especially at home. Like, I have like this weird theory that they might like try to straight up guard them as much as they possibly can. So I feel like I have a feeling, because it kind of happened in the last series with the Mavs, if you let PJ Washington get going, if the bigs are making good decisions, if they do send the blitz, send it to Derek Lively, send it to Gafford, they're making good, quick decisions, and PJ Washington gets going in that corner, it causes so many problems. We saw it back in the day with like the Suns when Maxi Kleber was hitting all them shots when they were blitzing Luka. Like it can turn to a snowball real fast. So I have a weird feeling they might play him straight up at first. Hopefully the Mavs can steal 1 or 2 and then they make the adjustments and the snowball rolls. But it's a long shot. I agree. It's a fucking long shot. I don't think people really remember how good this Celtics team is.
That's the thing. Well, we haven't seen it for 2 rounds. We didn't have to see it. Apparently, Kristaps was walking around in the gym in flip-flops during the Pacers series. And that if you have concerns over his calf injury, he's not doing that. But they knew they didn't need him in that Pacers series. So I think he's healthy. I think he's relatively healthy. He's probably going to be in that 20 to 24-minute range tomorrow in game 1. But no, it's an exciting series. Luka's going to get what he gets. He's getting between 30 and 35. That's happening. Write that down.
100%.
But what happens with all of those other guys?
Exactly.
I think at some point, Jason Kidd's going to have to make the move and say Derek Lively starting. Because I think Gafford, he played 8 minutes on March 1st against the Celtics. He got abused by Kristaps. Lively, fun little story. He was at the rehab. He went to the same rehab that I rehabbed my Achilles at. The same like PT group I went to. I didn't get to meet him, but they're like, oh, you just missed him. He was here, blah, 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 blah. He's a Jersey guy. Or he was a PA guy, but his family in Jersey, so he
went to West Town. I mean, but Jersey guy.
I think Lively has to start at some point. That's going to be a change. Whether that happens in game 1 or that happens in game 2 or 3, I think that's going to happen. PJ Washington lines, they're at 11.5, 12.5, depending what the book's at. If they want to win this series, PJ Washington's going to have to average 15 points a game.
Yeah.
And you said they're at 13.5 now?
11.5, 12.5. But that's the thing. We talked about the matchups. We talked about Derek White and Drew Holiday. That means Jaylen Brown's going to be on PJ Washington. Right. That's a rough night. I'm sorry. That's not a good time for anyone. We haven't even talked about who Jason Tatum's guarding. Jason Tatum's lucky enough that he's not going to have the same defensive attention that a Luka Doncic is going to get. Mm-hmm. But Tatum could very well be, when he if they win the finals and he wins the finals MVP, this is just how it works. Now Jason Tatum's the best player in the NBA. Like, you know how Kawhi wins the finals, he's the best player in the NBA. Giannis wins Jokic. It's just how the media works. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Tatum. But I think he's going to have an interesting matchup. PJ Washington is long. Derrick Jones is long. Josh Green is a not a fun time. So, and
it's like if you want to put Tatum and Brown in those off helper roles, like with those players you're talking about, you cannot fall asleep on them. Like if Derrick Jones will have games where he's hitting in shots, but if you're doing too much ball watching on Derrick Jones, we've seen it. Those backdoor lobs, they get moving. Then we get in a pick roll, throw a lob to Derek Lively. Then the house is coming down. Like I really think they probably might go straight up at first. And we might see some Luka Kyrie bombs, and then they adjust off of that. But it's going to be an interesting chess match for sure.
One thing that works in the Celtics' favor is that it's not like, okay, there's a game, you have a night off, there's a game. There's a game, you have like 3 days off, you have a game. That's going to help you with a guy like Al Horford, 100%. Who's coming off, just had a bunch of rest, but he played a shit ton of minutes in the Pacers series, and now he's going to get 3 days in between. I think that helps you get him, him as your sixth man, give you a little bit more size. And then some guys are just going to get played out of the series for the Mavs. Like, does Jaden Hardy have that same role? Probably not. Is Peyton? I mean, I don't expect much Luke Cornett at all. Yeah. Sam Hauser, probably not. They may only go like 7 deep with Pritchard. So these little things that, who gives a shit about Peyton Pritchard? I love that, especially for player prop.
Well, we were talking briefly. This was probably a month or two ago about face of the league, and it goes back to your point about if Celtics win and Tatum gets MVP. Do you think, like, with the media that they would make that whole, as the media does, Jason Tatum, you're the face of the NBA, and we were talking about like Anthony Edwards, Wemby coming up, like, is that kind of in your realm of? I know it sounded like you didn't really agree with it. Of he wins his Finals MVP, now he's the best player in the league.
I don't agree with that logic. I don't like that the belt gets passed every year. Jokic is the best player in the league, and Luka, I would say, is number 2. But I would have told you that 6 months ago. Like, this isn't really. I mean, if Luka wins the finals right now, I would still say Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. But I mean, Luka's a 1B in that scenario. As far as Jason Tatum goes, it sucks for him that this is going to land on an Olympics year. So let's hypothetically Celtics win, right? Jason Tatum's the finals MVP. Okay, cool. Best player in the NBA. They'll talk about it on First Take. Stephen A. this, Shannon Sharp that. By the time the Olympics rolls around, it's going to be Anthony Edwards all over your face. Doesn't matter what Jason Tatum did 6 weeks ago. They're going to plaster Anthony Edwards. And they should. He should be the face of the league. He's charismatic. He's young. He's talented. He gives everybody the nostalgia of Jordan. And if they go and win a gold medal and this guy starts and he's the player of the Olympics, good job, Jason Tatum. You got your ring. Jason Tatum, I don't want to shit on Jason Tatum. He's between 6 and 8. The best 5 players in the NBA aren't American. Sadly.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard. Probably say, put Embiid in there. Wemby's on his way.
Well, drop him before we get to the parlay.
Giannis, yeah.
Drop him your Darvin Ham comment.
Oh no, I just said. Well, we were talking about like what the best finals matchup could have been, and I was like, if anyone but Darvin Ham coached the Lakers, and we saw the Lakers in there, I like that matchup the best. But you sound like you didn't have much hope, regardless of who was in there. It could have been Phil Jackson.
No. The team had flaws. The knock on Darvin Ham, the team structurally had flaws. Everything they did. Darvin Ham's rotations, I think, ruined a couple series. Like, you can't 100%. Be just throwing out new rotations in the first round of the playoffs. What are you doing? It's not the time to experiment. And they're throwing Christian Wood out there. It was tough to watch. I do think a better coach could have made the first round a little more competitive. But if you look at it, I mean, they were pretty competitive in this series, despite I think they were winning they were ahead all but like 4 minutes in that Nuggets series, and they still lost. I would attribute some of that to coaching. But now they're talking about getting a guy like JJ Redick, who, I hyped him up as a young Pat Riley. Why not? This whole more than a game thing we find out is an interview.
Hey, the rumors may be true. Is LeBron serving him up to be a to be a coach? That's what all the rumors were saying.
Dude, I mean, they're pretty close to getting a deal done from what I've read. Now, what happens in the offseason? A guy like JJ Redick, who's well respected amongst NBA players, I would imagine can bring in some of the guys that win you finals, the Bruce Browns of the world that go unheralded, which is why I think the Nuggets struggled a little bit. You need those other guys, and you get those other guys at the deadline. You get them in buyouts, you get them in free agency, but you got to get them to come in on cheap deals. And playing for a JJ Redick may be able to bring in some guys that he played with earlier in his career.
Very true.
Does this mean they draft Bronny? Probably. I wouldn't be shocked, but I think the hate this kid is getting is unreal, and I'm not going to go on a Bronny tangent, but I'll say this. Cason Wallace has a role in this league.
Yep.
The kid who was the rookie for the Thunder, can you hit an open three? Can you defend like a son of a bitch? Can you know where to be? Can you not make mistakes? Then you have a role in the NBA. And if Bronny James could say, I'm going to be the Cason Wallace of this Lakers team, I can give my best 15 minutes, I can make 6 points a game. I can make all the right plays and be there and get out in transition. And I could be up in Devin Booker's face, and I could be up in Jamal Murray's face sparingly. I think that's a role he can excel in. Unfortunately, his name's LeBron James Jr., exactly. And he's not going to get the type of attention that Cason Wallace didn't get. But it's there. It exists, I think, in his skill set.
I agree.
That'll just go to show if he... We all know he's going to get drafted to wherever LeBron is. It's just what LeBron needs to do to make sure that happens. I'm curious to see how the draft goes with that. As like I've seen multiple times, like all over social media, these NBA executives are just saying he's not ready, he's not ready, he's not ready. So I'm just kind of eager to see. We've known for years this is what LeBron wants, so it's going to happen. It's just what these guys say about it.
There's guys that have better pro careers than they do college careers. We've seen that. We've seen guys come out where it's like, oh, you were in a system but someone saw potential there. I was listening to Danny Ainge talk about scouting Jaylen Brown at 3rd overall. He's like, I went and watched him at Cal for a year before. We had him as the 3rd best guy in the draft. It's like he had 2 bigs that couldn't space the floor. He had a point guard that couldn't score. But if we can get Jaylen Brown in space, he can be a successful NBA player. Now, I'm not saying Bronny James is Jaylen Brown, but I'm saying there's a world where your college career doesn't necessarily play to the best of your skill set, and you can have a successful NBA career. Maybe that's the case for him.
Well, hopefully that's the case for him. All right, it's parlay time, and we need to, we'll probably have to ask you, like, whatever our name's going to be for our, 4-leaf clover, because maybe that has to be changed. So we'll get some ideas later on that.
I'm Irish. I like that. But
I liked it, man. He was like, I don't know. And then you get to use the emoji, too. So every time you see the clove emoji, it's like, oh, like, there's the parlay. We'll have to think of something for this one, but Manny, kick it off with our first pick for this one. We're doing 2 picks from us, 2 from Prop Holiday for Game 1 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night. We have our 2 picks.
So do you want to run through both picks, or just want to choose one? Because I'll just choose.
You choose the first one up here, and then I'll
just. So the pick I love, honestly, I wrote it last series. Derek Lively rebounds. Unfortunately, with the whole getting knee in the head thing, they said it was a sprained neck, not a concussion. So I think he'll be fine. He's gonna have to be an X factor in the series, regardless. Prop, you pointed out how Daniel Gafford's minutes have gone down. I think they see what they can get from Derek Lively, and it's the energy, the lobs, everything you can get from him is a little, even though Daniel Gafford's really good, just a little bit more of an edge with Derek Lively. In all 4 games that the Celtics played the Pacers, this is without Kristaps, but they were out-rebounded every single game but game 2. So I think Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford's a little older. You bring a guy like this with this much energy, I think you're going to have a hard time containing him on the boards. I think 7.5 is a little bit low. I love Derek Lively over 7.5 to get it started.
Over 7.5. I'm on Kyrie for this one, over 23.5. It's just, like, you touched on it the last show that we did.
Got it.
For Kyrie to cash Manny's Finals MVP ticket, he's got to get on that.
We need 30s.
He's got to get on that back end of, what Bron and Kyrie did against the Warriors when it was 40-40, 30-30, 35. Just get on one of those back ends and have one of those games. But my whole narrative on it is it's Kyrie Irving in the finals, and we've learned in, like, games, especially, I think it was 4 and 5, we really saw he was almost unguardable and step back every time, making players miss. I just don't understand, even though you look at the stat sheet here on Kyrie where he's not really hitting this 23.5 in recent games, especially against Boston.
First came back in Boston in a while.
Yeah, first came back in Boston in a while. I'm not really touching more of that narrative. I just think, look, all the eyes, what we talked about, are going to be on Luka. So when you have a 1-2 punch, well, you can use the 1-2 punch, and you can use your 2-punch guy in Kyrie at 23.5. And I think even though, like I said, he hasn't really been favorable the last 10 games, I think he said it once or twice, I don't think, that's really a factor because it is Kyrie Irving in the finals. And we've seen what the damage he can do in the NBA finals. And he's back. This is almost like a resurgence of Kyrie Irving. Finally back to where he belongs, on the big stage, in the finals, here playing basketball in June. Like, this is just perfect narrative for Kyrie Irving to snap. And, hey, if he does, then we get the best of both worlds. We get this cash, and we get the finals MVP as a possibility. They do have to win the series, though.
A little more than 20.
So we're on Derek Lively over 7.5, and Kyrie rebounds, and Kyrie Irving over 23.5 points for Game 1.
I like it. All right, let me chip in with mine. Little bit of, depending what book we're doing this on, I imagine probably doing like a FanDuel or something.
Yeah, we're on FanDuel.
All right, cool. Drew Holiday, 2+ steals, plus 140.
Ooh. Dude, you're so sweaty. You're so sweaty.
Dallas is 2nd overall in the playoffs in opponent bad pass steals, meaning their opponents get the most. 3rd most in lost ball steals. So I'm targeting bad pass steals with Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday opened up on Luka Doncic in that March matchup. I do think he's going to open up as the main defender. They're going to be forcing the ball to Luka. We all agree with that. Mm-hmm. So I got the guy on the Celtics who leads the team in bad pass steals, defending the guy with the highest usage rate. He had 2 steals against Dallas in March. I think he went over this 4 of 6 when he was on the Milwaukee Bucks in the finals.
Ooh.
I like 2+ steals. I like that we're getting it plus 140. They're going to try to deny the ball to Luka. You don't really get to do that. But with Drew Holiday being that main defender, I think he's going to have a ton of opportunities to get some bad pass steals. Give me 2+ steals for plus 140 on Holiday.
I love that.
I like that.
So now that puts the lay right now with the 3 picks at plus 672.
A nice plus 672.
Do you have one more for us?
I had Lively 2+ assists. Now I know we're on Lively's rebound, so I'm going to leave this up to the group. Lively 2+ assists. I got it at plus 120. I think it's like minus 110 now. I gave it out like 3 days ago. I think he plays big minutes. Do we all agree he plays big minutes
100%.
this series?
Yep. He's minus 110 right now.
When he plays 25 minutes or more, he hits this in 5 of 7 games in the playoffs.
I love it. I love it because we were talking about too. If they do blitz Luka, it's up to the big to make a quick, good decision. Derek Lively's pretty good at that. I love it. I love your
as a rookie, he's made a ton of good. I mean, he's playing big minutes. He's a PA guy. I'm calling him a Jersey guy. There's a little bit of connection there. If we want to double down on Lively, we can do that. If we want to be a little more skeptical about it and like spread out our risk, I'll happily go Luka Doncic over 8.5 assists because I do think the way they're going to defend him, there's going to be a lot of open looks on the perimeter. Celtics give up a ton of catch and shoot threes, a ton of above the break threes. So we want to spread it out. We go 8.5 assists over on Luka. Drew Holiday, 2+ steals. Are we a Lively crew?
I kind of like this spread. I kind of like this.
You
spread.
like spreading it out?
I do kind of like the spread, even though
it's giving you anxiety seeing Lively twice.
Maybe a little bit. That's because it's game 1.
All right, we can take him out. We can take him out. We can take him out.
All right, let's keep the rebounds.
I like both rebounds.
Yep, keep the rebounds.
Let's go. Drew 2 steals. Luka over 8.5 assists. It's like minus 122. We should be getting well over 10 to 1.
This is
yeah. We got plus 1238 right now, which before it was 1194. Even though the last leg there with Lively 2 assists was minus 110, and on here right now, FanDuel has Luka's assist over 8.5 at minus 128. So kind of confusing how lesser odds.
It's correlation. We're banking on him playing a lot more minutes, so they're like, oh, if he's going to get a bunch of rebounds, he's going to be on the floor enough to get a bunch of assists. Not gonna give you extra credit for that. I think that's how they're calculating it.
And there is a 33% profit boost or 30%. I think it's 30% profit boost on FanDuel right now that you can use. That I can't get that right now.
I'm punching that in right now.
Plus 1238 right now.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I'm putting it.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
So, and you do think if you had, I know you kind of touched on it with Celtics probably winning. If it gets to 7, it's the Mavs. But if you just had to pick a winner right now, there's Mavs right now are plus 188 to win the series, win the finals. If you had to pick a winner right now, Mavs, Celtics, with Luka, with Kyrie, with everything riding on the Celtics, even though they haven't really gotten to show their true colors since they've dealt with a lot of injuries in the first couple rounds of this playoffs, who are you picking? I know everybody's picking the Celtics, but like I feel like can get a little bit more on the Mavs. Like it's like we're just counting them out. Just it's the Celtics. Just they're the best team in the league. Take the Celtics.
I want the Mavs. I do think the Celtics win this one. I think this is the best team. Having Drew Holiday as your 4th best player is absurd. I mean, it's just built out very, very well. The only thing that scares me is if we get the rando guy stepping up. If you get a Maxi Kleber game where the guy bangs out 3 or 4 threes, if we get we got to look for those guys. We get a PJ Washington game. I remember last year in the finals we got a Christian Braun game.
Yup.
We got a what's his name? We got a Bruce Brown game. If we get those random guys, maybe it's Jaden Hardy. If you see those random guys step up and you see them steal a game on the road, if they get game 1 or game 2 on the road, it's a series.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to need a lot from the tertiary pieces. You're going to need a guy exploding. I'm going Boston. I'm not banking on that. I'm getting 35 from Luka. I'm getting 25 a game min from Kyrie. But I'm not banking on the other guys. PJ Washington is a lot to put my stock in.
I agree. I mean, I'll close my thoughts with the series with this, but like I think it would make so much sense. It'd be a masterpiece for Kyrie and Luka to be the Grim Reaper to like the Celtics run, because if you look at the last decade, I mean, I think it's like 7 of the last 10 Eastern Conference Finals, a couple finals. Probably should have beat Steph in that team. Steph puts in God mode, takes them out. They have to win this finals, I think. I don't think it's over, but I think just for like how we look at the Celtics, how I look at the Celtics currently, how I look at like Jason Tatum, Jason Brown, I think Kyrie and Luka are holding the Grim Reaper little thing, and we can put an end to this real fast. It's gonna be fun to watch, but I do think the Celtics do take care of it. But it will be. This is gonna be one of my favorite finals to watch as far as just rooting for the underdog, because I really hope Luka and Kyrie can pull this off. But I don't think it. I think we're gonna fall short.
And you go by like Boston, like markets too, like. It's kind of a pick your poison. Do you want to see a Boston team win or do you want to see a Dallas team win? It's one of those things too.
It's true. It's true. You can get a decent line. If you take Celtics game 1 and Celtics to win the series, it's like minus 125. It's probably the best odds you're going to get on the Celtics. I mean, if you don't want to lay minus 220, if you get them to win game 1, obviously well rested, obviously at home, and then you can get them to win the series at like minus 125 if you combo the two.
Do you have any thoughts about these spreads? Like we're seeing 6.5 game 1. I think that's kind of high.
It got bet. Yeah, it did get bet. It opened at 5.5, and then everybody started gobbling that up, and it went to 6.5. I would grab it 6.5. I do think that's too high for this, even though they should. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout.
Right.
The Luka will keep it in him. I'm rooting for Kyrie, man. I've always been even when he was like doing shitty Kyrie things.
100%.
I'm always been. He's a Jersey guy. I mean, some of the stuff with Boston wasn't his fault. Some of it was. Some of the stuff with the vaccine, I actually don't knock him for it. But like when he was like, if you don't trade me, I'm gonna go sign a mid-level exception with the Lakers. And Josiah was like, all right, go ahead. Yeah. And then he signed his deal and he got the extension and then he forced his way out. It's like he did some crappy things. I think we can all acknowledge. But
100%. Just
him as a basketball player he's one of the most talented players we've ever seen. Plus, he's a Jersey guy. He played 15 minutes for me in Elizabeth. Like I had a friend who UPenn legend, Ivy League legend, got a shot at a summer league with the 76ers. I talked to him after the summer league. He didn't get picked up. He didn't get drafted. I said, dude, he played with Tristan Thompson at St. Benedict's. Damn. So he played with legit dudes. Yeah. I was like, dude, who's the best player you've ever played against? He said, I couldn't stand in front of Kyrie Irving. Like literally, I just couldn't stay in front of him. And he's like, he's the best player I have ever seen. His handle is unbelievable. And he told me that 12 years ago, like when it was Kyrie's like rookie season. And I never forgot it. It always stayed with me. And this kid wasn't slow. He broke Derrick Rose's spark record with the lights in the combine.
Damn.
Like he was the fastest player I've ever seen. He's like, I couldn't stand in front of him. So that always stuck with me. And him being a Jersey guy, I'll root for Kyrie forever.
Just fucking go Kyrie. Get finals MVP, baby.
Finals MVP, plus 2,700.
Yo, it's boosted to plus 1,600, by the way.
Boosted to plus 1,600 with the boost. All right, from plus 1238 too for Lively over 7.5 rebounds, Kyrie over 23.5 points, Drew Holiday 2+ steals, and Luka Doncic over 8.5 assists.
I like it.
Prop, we appreciate you being here today. For the physical, the annual check-in. Hopefully, with kind of the things that we're moving on to, this is not the last time.
See you again.
Be seeing you much more frequently. And then look, we gotta kind of meet in the middle, get a golf video done.
100%.
We switched it from Tea Party to now All Day Golf, so it's kind of the same. You know what I mean? Same kind of branding, all that kind of stuff. Got to meet in the middle, get some swings in, make a little video. I think it'll be a good time.
I went 52-41 my first round this year. So
let's go.
I'm down. I'm down. It was a dog track. It was a crappy course, but it was still the first round of the year. I went 52-41.
We'll take it.
Nah, man. Let me go. Let me know when you guys need it. I'm there. Whenever you want me on the show, I'm happy to do it. Excited to see the new direction of the All Day Everyday podcast.
Oh man, it means a lot. We think we found the I guess the niche that we should have been in this entire time. I think this is kind of where we start to make a mark and start to kind of move up in the rankings here.
You never left it in my eyes. You guys were always the gambling show. So now you're just very aware of it.
Now we are just very aware of it. Hey, Bob, we appreciate you. We appreciate this. We'll talk to you real soon, and we will seriously be in touch about getting together for getting on the links, swinging some clubs, hitting some golf balls.
Later, fellas.
All right, Bob.
That was Prop Holiday, ladies and gentlemen. Another great session. Catch-up conversation with Prop Holiday. Make sure to get into the prop shop as he is doing his deal for just $12. You'll get the next 3 months of the prop shop. Take advantage of that. That's Prop Holiday. That's our program. If you did watch this on YouTube, make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button. We are just 100 subscribers away from 1,000 on YouTube. So that would be really nice if we can get there. Help us out there. And Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we know you're there. We appreciate you. We love you. Give us those ratings. Those ratings, they mean a lot to us. We'll see you soon. We have a Han coming very, very soon. We'll see you from there. You've been listening and watching to the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. The gambling shows are here. They're not going anywhere. Like Prop said, we are the gambling show. We are gambling Twitter. It's in our blood.